Friends, Fever fans, welcome back to another Fever Replay podcast. The season has begun. Rejoice. Rejoice, everybody. The W is back, and we're back with another podcast brought to you by the love of the game. If no one's going to pay you, do it yourself for the love of the game. I am Chris Ord, and of course, I am with the intermittently feisty Keisha Gallagher. Keisha, how are you today? Say hi.
Hi, I am well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic because we got basketball everywhere. We're not going to mention the NBA a lot, but we got playoffs going there. While we got the W going crazy. And we just got basketball coming out of our ears. So it's a good time to be alive.
The W is back, baby. I am so excited.
Okay, so we're going to start from the top here, talking about the foul that the world wants to talk about. I don't know if the world wants to, but certainly ESPN does. And BuzzFeed and all of those places we go for great content. Wants to talk about the foul that happened. Caitlin Clark fouled and was given a flagrant 1 foul against Angel Reese. So, we're going to talk about this up front, but I also want to take a moment to kind of go over one of our guiding philosophies for this podcast, because honestly, I have been so annoyed. The internet, my phone, everything knows that I love the Fever and I love Caitlin Clark, and so I've just been blasted in the face with a shotgun of different angles, different takes. Angel's the worst basketball player. She doesn't belong on the court. Caitlin's a saint. Ooh, Caitlin's the devil. All of these things are coming at me, and I hate it because none of it is about the game. Every once in a while I'll get a little tweet, oh, by the way, there's a triple-double. Annoying. I hate it. So this podcast, part of why we wanted to start it, really, was because of that. Like, a game would happen, it'd be really exciting. I want to hear all about the ins and outs of what happened, the matchups, and no, instead we'd get all of this drama going on that is annoying and not helpful and not very entertaining either. What are your thoughts on that, Keisha?
On the foul heard round the world? Yeah. Similarly, it's very frustrating as a fan of basketball to have so much focus on something that, it's not that it's insignificant, it just is not it's not the point of basketball. It wasn't the point of the game. It really didn't sway the game. It just was poor decision making. Right idea, bad execution. That's really what it's come back to for me. Looking at the foul, what I saw happen was that Clark, a guard, realized that Angel Reese, a very talented post player, was wide open on the block, and in a basketball mindset, wanted to stop that easy basket from occurring. Do I love the fact that she wrapped her around the waist and sort of pushed her to the floor? No. She should have just wrapped her and got the foul, but it's a heat of the moment. Do I think that Angel's reaction was a bit over the top? A little bit, but also, if someone threw me to the ground, I might pop up and be frustrated too. But the negativity and the vitriol that comes at two young women in their early 20s over basketball is so out of pocket and really takes away from the team, the game, the fans. It adds nothing. It takes so much and adds nothing. And I'm exhausted by it, especially living in Iowa, where the fanaticism of Caitlin Clark runs high and mighty, even now, especially now. I know everyone's just going to be talking about this for the rest of the week. And it's not going to have a lot of nuance. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. And I think that takes away from both players' talent, both teams' skill set, and it brings the game down for me.
I agree. And I think that's how we're going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it long, but we're going to talk about the nuance, just like you said. But the nuance for me, first off, if you really were watching the game, you'll notice that what happened, what preceded the foul, what caused Angel Reese to be wide open, was there was a foul that didn't, there's a no call. And that happens all the time. Not an egregious no call, but there was a no call right before. Caitlin was there. She had her arms up second before, like, why didn't that get called? And then she notices, oh, shoot, we're completely out of position. They're about to get an easy layup. She goes for the take foul. She does it incorrectly, just like you said. She clearly shoves her to the ground. Unnecessary to do that, she gets a flagrant. As far as I'm concerned, everything was pretty just in that scenario right there. Boom, boom, boom. I even see why Caitlin might have gone a little harder, and I don't think it was because of a rivalry between her. You can't see my air quotes, but I put some pretty heavy air quotes over the word rivalry. I think it was because of the no call. And we know Caitlin, she's crazy, intensely competitive, gets really frustrated at the refs. Saw the no call, and I think, gave a little shove, gave a little extra sauce on that foul. And then, then she even walks away. And like I said, like you said, Angel was a little heated, but it's not like she was swinging. She was yelling. That's fine. You just got shoved to the ground. Like, I didn't really, the biggest travesty to the whole thing was that I could not understand why they gave AB a technical, who literally, if you watch it, just waltzed in and was kind of like, hey, ladies, let's not fight. She had like a big smile on her face. She's like, let's cool it. And somehow they gave her, she didn't even realize she got a technical till after the game. Because it was like, why would I have gotten a technical? So if there's anything that should be talked about, it's that. Like, why did AB get that? I don't understand it. But anyway.
The two technicals I thought was a mistake on the officiating, but I do believe that there is a goal with the officials that they want to be a little tighter and they don't want things to get out of pocket. I think that was a bad decision. I think it should have been the flagrant, and that was it. But that's not what happened. And instead of talking about the triple double, which was incredible, instead of talking about the fact that Aaliyah Boston had 5 blocks, which accounted for 50% of the blocks the Fevers had in that game, we're all talking about this fake rivalry.
DeWanna Bonner, I don't know,
DeWanna
moving into third place, all-time scoring. That's kind of a big deal.
Pretty big deal.
Somebody shoved somebody. Deal. Never happens in basketball.
Yeah, someone fell on the ground in a basketball game, and we're still talking about it.
All right. Well, anyway, we're done. That's all you're going to get out of us. We're going to dive into the game. Tell me, Keisha, what your thoughts were on the first quarter. A pretty hard-fought first quarter, I would say.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous for the Fever, to be honest, when I saw Cardoso get that very easy first bucket. I know that she's been working really hard in the off season, and I know that her and Boston, both coming from South Carolina, they know each other's games very well, and I thought that was going to be a battle, and it definitely was. They were both really going at each other, but in that first quarter, I think it was a pretty good matchup. There was a lot of physicality, which I think was another part of the reason this game was so anticipated. There's a lot of match for match, size for size, talent for talent on the rosters. But I was nervous but excited, and I was not disappointed with the response. I think this was in real time, seeing the Fever recognize opportunities, the back cuts that they were developing, the lead passes. It was really beautiful basketball. Pretty early on.
No, absolutely. And I feel like what you're saying, developing, was the key word there. Because I did notice, like, our transition offense was really, we were hunting that lead pass. Was our specialty last year. Caitlin's phenomenal at it. And we have people that know about it. It looks like we're set up for it. We're attempting it. And it could have been a couple things, I think. I know, because we just kept getting off. If the pass would hit, then they wouldn't finish. Like, I don't know that AB had a point in the first quarter. If she did, she might have just had one. She just kept missing that, but it wasn't just AB. We didn't hit on one of those lead passes for almost the entire first quarter, which was, like, really starting to concern me. Really, the thing that pulled us back from, like, the first quarter going downhill was Howard, who had, like, 8 points, I think, in the first 7 minutes. She just, like, was like, okay, so this this fast pace, like bam, boom, is not happening. How about I just shove people around in the paint? Does it sound good? Everyone okay with that? And I think we were okay with that.
Yeah, a lot of my notes were easy layup miss fast break, lead pass does not develop into easy bucket for that first quarter. But I think it's just, first game. We're figuring out where everyone belongs, what those passes should look like, where people want the ball. But what I loved is I feel like they kind of dug themselves out of that rut. It was a little nerve-wracking, but when you have the talent, and I'd say that Bonner didn't have some crazy off-the-chart scoring in the first quarter, first half, but when you have that seniority on the court, I think that was able to keep it more grounded. I didn't feel at any point with those missed baskets that the wheels were falling off.
It didn't feel like that. It didn't. It felt like, this is a rocket ship, and it's like getting started. That's what it felt like, because that's the thing, when you see those lead pass opportunities, that's good basketball, Because it's not just, Caitlin's chucking the ball because she likes doing that. It was a full team with a strategy that was trying to implement it early and was really focused on it, which is something you want to see. That tells you top down, there was a game plan, we know how to execute it, we're working on it. Gosh, if this thing hits, I kept thinking that, if we start hitting even half of these, then we're just going to blow these guys out of the water. That's actually what I wrote down in the first quarter. And, hey, it turns out we hit more than half of those in the next quarter.
The shooting percentage, the shooting percentage was shocking to me. 60% at the end of the first for behind the arc, the three-pointing. I mean, I don't know what Kelsey Mitchell ate for breakfast that day, but I need someone to get that on standby for her, because she was shooting off-balance threes, wide open threes with confidence, precision, and that follow-through. It was beautiful. It was beautiful basketball from her.
Of everybody on the team, the person I'm most excited for is Mitchell, because last year I think I really learned that she's super opportunistic, and having Caitlin allowed her to flex into that, because all of a sudden there are opportunities. Yeah. They exist, especially being the other guard on the other side of the court with Caitlin Clark. It's just like, not only is she drawing the attention, but she's able to get the ball to you. But now, with Bonner out there, with Howard out there, AB doing everything, it's like there's so much room for Mitchell to do whatever she wants to do. And she's like, this is amazing. I'm just going to feast out here all day long. Me, I'm one of the top scorers in the league. Just so you know, guys. Just so you know. I'm right here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be here all year. Just mixing it up. Very exciting.
The spacing, though, was really something that I think Chicago struggled with, is they did not know how to clog up the lanes. They did not know how to keep those passing lanes blocked up. They couldn't figure out how to guard a back cut. They just exposed every weakness over and over and over again. It was exciting to see that developing, and also I think that there are some people who maybe did not love the score being so far apart throughout the game when you're looking for, really exciting basketball. But once you get your foot on the neck, I'm not letting off. I'm not taking the pressure off.
And there's blowouts where it's boring. This was not one of those.
No.
I've been a fan of a team, and we're winning, and we're blowing them out, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll go mow the lawn now. I've felt like that before. That was not this game. This game was like a team just going lights out, saying, let's see what we can do. They were like, hey, this is finally the actual season. Let's see what we could do together. And they were trying to gel and figure things out, too. You could tell. They were like, okay, Clark and AB, that's working again. Great, we love it. And then we had Clark and Hull, and we're like, yeah, that still works. Awesome, And you could see Clark and Bonner were trying.
The thing with Bonner is it's hard when you haven't had that experience. I mean, she's brand new. She's not brand new in any means to figuring out how to play that role, but she is not a fast break sprinting gal. She is a very clever, finding an open spot, finding the pressure points, applying that pressure. She's an insanely intelligent basketball player who has a lot of different roles on the court, and I think with Bonner, it's just finding that role. She can play the 1 if she needs to. She can play the 5 if she needs to. And right now, there's a lot of guards, there's a lot of forwards. Where does she go? Because I think Howard and Boston have the high-low going, and I think Dantas and Howard have the high-low going. I think Boston and Dantas have the high-low going. Bonner's kind of just like floating in space, waiting for that pocket to open up for her, and it's a little harder when you have fast-paced basketball going.
I agree. One of the things, though, that I was really impressed with as the game went on, and seeing when the lead pass wasn't working in the first quarter, was getting a good feel of the high IQ that pretty much everybody on our starting team has. They were able to flex into things. They were able to read off of each other and be like, okay, we're going to adjust on the fly while we're out here, when we're going to help each other out, and we're going to figure out how to start scoring, which was super cool to see.
Yeah. I think that one of the things, again, there's just so many, because there's so few teams and the rosters are so tiny, a lot of these women have played basketball against and with each other for years and years, and they know what their opponents and what their friends do. And I just thought, and I don't mean to blow smoke up Boston's jersey, but the way that she slowly dismantled Cardoso, the way that she figured out how to utilize those ball fakes, she had one pump fake that had her sending her into the first row, courtside, that I made Chelsea stop and rewind it over and over again. Because did you see that? That was a chef's kiss.
It was glorious.
And she just kept doing it.
I feel like she missed the shot after that, and that frustrated me. I feel like I remember that, and I think she does this crazy move, and then she missed it. I was oh, come on. And I think that she got a putback, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which was good. I'm glad, because it was so glorious to watch. I was like, this is, especially, I love post-game. That's what I did. I was, I'm not a tall guy now, but I hit this height at 6th grade. So, I thought I was going to be a center. So I'm a big nerd for all of those moves down there, and she was really putting on a clinic, which was just incredible to watch. In the second half, things kind of started to get more under control for the Fever, for sure. But one of the things to point out was that Angel hit a 3, which was we're seeing a lot of the ladies that don't shoot threes this year knocking down threes and taking it with confidence, which, I like to see that. We're seeing people develop. I felt like Angel had a lot better of a mid-range game as well. I know she was working on that in the off season.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that I know as Fever fans, I think it can be sometimes hard for folks to acknowledge and appreciate Angel Reese for whatever reason, but the amount of, I don't understand it either, but the amount of work I know she put in on the off season, her experience in Unrivaled, I know she got to work one-on-one with Lisa Leslie, and Lisa Leslie had said incredible things about Reese, and thinks that she is pretty much the future of basketball, and one of those opportunities for her to continue to grow in the game is extending her range, and I can see her actively working on that already. Her hitting that 3 was scary, but also exciting, because it's she is working it, and she's going to get better at it. And she's so strong. She finds the ball off the boards.
She is so strong. It is something to watch down there, because we've got a lot of strong people on our team. And she really didn't have trouble performing in the paint at all. She was doing, she got a double-double. She's the double-double queen. At least she was last year. And you could see it. You could see why. She didn't really miss a beat coming back. I was glad to see her just, she had that injury halfway through her first year, and that was a bummer. So it was good to see that Angel was looking fantastic.
Well, going into the second half, I just felt like this is when the sky really started to fall apart, and that can happen, of course. We all have bad games, but it's when your opponent falls apart, what is your response? And this is where the Fever really, not so much surprised me, but I was proud of their response to that, because they put every possible amount of pressure on those weaknesses and just exposed them time and time again. I felt really bad for Vandersloot returning to Chicago first game of the season, and it just, nothing was working. A lot of my notes for the start of the third quarter are just miss three from the sky, miss three from the sky. They were really desperately trying to catch up and bridge this gap, and they were going about it in a really unsuccessful way over and over and over again, and that led to those back cuts, layup.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, but it wasn't even, and again, it just was exciting to see that the Fever saw weaknesses and went for the kill in not a, insanely aggressive way, but that's what you have to do. If someone is going to lay down a path for you, or you're not going to walk down that path, I'm taking those opportunities, and I want to crush.
Yeah, and I felt like it was a mixed bag, because one, you're right, they were desperately just trying to catch up and hit those threes. The other part was, I felt like the Fever really out-hustled them throughout the whole game from baseline to baseline. Like, it wasn't a half-court game in any way. Like, the Fever like to play a full-court game. They want those transition points. They want to pressure you as you're coming down. I was so impressed with all of the transition steals we were getting. Yeah. Like, me as a spectator is just watching, like, okay, we scored, now they're taking the ball over. And even you could tell, like, the studio was just like, okay, we're panning over to the other thing. And then all of a sudden the ball's going the other direction. I was like, what? And that didn't just happen once. It happened, like, again and again and again. And that had to have been heartbreaking on this guy who were trying to catch up, trying to be like, okay, let's just get our feet under us, and they couldn't even do that. The other piece was, whenever they were trying to take these threes, it felt like on defense we were super focused on the contests. Like, every single person, when they'd get us in rotation, we would be closing out as hard as we could. We'd be getting a hand in the face. I would love to see what the stats were on, like, how many open threes that the Sky even took, because it felt like there was always somebody's hand in somebody's face. And that kind of like hustle, I feel like, is one of the key things that made our lead pass start to hit also. I think that the Sky actually, they did their homework. They knew we were going to go for that. I feel like they had somebody there to contest those and to make that window so short that the ball had to come in, and they weren't even going to get two steps. They were just going to get one step, But as the game went on, that window became like a barn door. It was like wide open. They weren't able to keep with us at that pace, at that full court, the whole game. And I feel like that's like, in a game like this, where it's clear we were blowing them out and it kind of just kept going and going, I feel like the hustle was actually the thing that really pushed us over the edge more than anything else.
I mean, well, when you're losing badly and you can't dig yourself out of a hole, you also start making mistakes. And the offensive rebounds weren't the offensive rebounds were still in favor of the Sky. But what really was shocking to me wasn't even the turnovers. It was the field goal percentage. At the end of the game, they just were 29%. It was just... it was abysmal, and they just could not figure it out. And that team really has a lot of new faces, and it's going to take a while for them to figure it out. But it was shocking to see the lack of creativity to get out of the hole.
And, I mean, to be fair, too, I believe that their coach... Was I watching a different thing? Is their coach first year or no?
Yes. Okay.
No, so and that's another thing. I think we did see a coaching difference between the two. Like, we have one of the best coaches currently coaching. I'm so excited we have her. I don't know how that happened, but we got her. And they had a first-year coach's very first game coaching, and I think that might have showed a little bit.
Oh, definitely. And I think the Sky coach, I think he has a lot of potential. He obviously got this role because he knows what he's doing, but I think sometimes you have to try something. I don't know if they should have tried a zone. I don't know if they should have been trying running different plays, but I just feel like they could not find an answer. And, the cherry on top of this, great victory, which we kind of mentioned up top, is just Bonner stepping into this new level of, I don't even know the word to describe the skill set. It's because it's not even skill, but just to be in the history books in the WNBA as one of the best. She went from being tied with Tina Thompson, who's maybe one of the OG, like, Three Musketeer level type of players from the Houston Comets. I mean, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, Tina Thompson. There was never a better group of women playing basketball when the league started. They destroyed. The Comets were the best team ever at that time. To bypass Tina Thompson, who is just known for destroying the boards and putting every rebound back in. And Bonner has a lot of career still ahead of her.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows where she's going to end up, but I just thought that was incredibly cool that she did that the first game of the season with a coach who really understands and respects her in front of the Fever fans. Like, that must have felt incredible.
I did see her on the walk-off, something that they posted on the Fever socials. She was just talking about how she felt a little shell-shocked playing in front of the Fever crowd because she was like, I didn't expect that. That was a lot. This is kind of an exciting place to play. Like, hopefully I'll have now that I know what it's like, I'll be a little more ready for it. But yeah, no, it had to feel good. Moving it's a part of the game, but it's tough. You really never know how any player's going to handle it. But having a debut like that in front of your home crowd, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff for sure. We saw the two-man game was really in effect throughout the second half. Like, we saw Hull and Clark start to cut it up, which was great to see. They didn't really miss a beat from last year. We saw a lot of really great stuff in the third quarter between Clark and Howard.
Yes.
Like, there was this one assist where it was a high pick and roll, and then, there's a back cut from Howard, and then Clark does, like, this side spin assist that, like, curved around.
The English?
It was so gorgeous. I was just like, are you kidding me? And it felt like these two women have been playing together for, like, years or something. It was like, nope, this is their first regular season game right here. And it was just like, oh, absolutely.
But to have, like, that type of vision on the court, to see that lane, to know that to get that ball to Howard, who I know is going to make it, I have to get it to land in her hand like this. I have to spin the ball between multiple people running in opposite directions to get it in her hands right here. I have to do that perfect for her to score this easy bucket. God, that was such a good pass. It was
fantastic. That was one of those
she had a
where
lot of those.
I paused it too. I was like, let's watch that one again.
Run that
was
back.
Fantastic.
Between those crazy passes, all of the back cuts, the ball fakes that Boston was pulling out, that I don't really remember her doing that much, but she figured out her mid-range game, and I'm really I'm really proud of the work that Boston has put in, because she clearly wants to have a long career. I know she does, and I know she is aware of her weaknesses, and to see that work already, game one was great. Against, like, two huge and very talented post players, it was great stuff.
That is, so one of my favorite things about professional basketball is what you're talking about right now. It's one thing to be great at the game, and it's another thing to be, like, elite. And not in every sport is there such a clear delineation. But in basketball there is. It's a game of stars. And the stars aren't just stars because everyone knows their name, because they're fun to watch. The stars, like, are a step ahead of the people around them on the court. It's a game where you can individually shine in a big way. And it doesn't just happen. It's not just natural talent. Natural talent gets you on the court, maybe. There's a lot of talented people sitting on the couch, But, like, that work to be like, okay, I am missing this, and this from my game. I'm going to start doing this, this, and this to eliminate those, you know? You don't see every player start doing that. You see a lot of players, they go, oh, you know, I had a good career. Maybe it only lasted 5 years. You know, no big deal. I'm still one of the best. You know, you don't see that in AB. You see a fire to be like, no, I want to be one of the very best. That's what I want to be. I want to be here. I want to put my stamp on the game. And I love it. I love to see the development. Absolutely. Another person continuing to develop, because I've mentioned Hull a few times, but always with Clark. Hull's continual drive, that motor that she has, both, we saw it a lot last year on defense, and it started to kick in on offense. And on defense, she was a menace all game. You can tell the other players are getting so annoyed whenever they see Hull in their area of the court. Like, they're like, this chick won't leave me alone, you know? And you're seeing it again and again, but then also on offense, it's really starting to pay off. She had like a putback surrounded by bigs. And then it was right after she had gotten a block, which is not unusual for her. She's so good at defending up, but then she's starting to get better at even offensively playing up as well, which, gosh, when it comes to hustle players, usually that's like it. You know, they're a hustle player, but it's like she's actually developing solid skills that is making her an extremely dangerous person to have as your sixth man.
I know this is literally week 1, but big contender for sixth man of the year.
Oh, yeah. No, she's in that place. Like, you know, if you're asking yourself, I wonder who could be in the race for sixth man of the year, like, easily her.
Yeah.
She's easily going to be part of that conversation.
And I really respect, and you can see it when she comes off the court, because I think, unfortunately, when it comes to any sort of sport where there is a small roster, there can be some bitterness, and you can see someone come off the bench and feel as if they should have been a starter, and I love that that's never the energy that you get with Lexi. She is ready to play as soon as she steps on the court, and you know she's ready to be a nuisance on defense, and I love that. I love knowing that she is going to be a problem.
My favorite thing about her is that she looks like just a mom that would be holding a coffee, like waiting for her kid. Like, I've been in line with a lot of people waiting for my kid after school. It looks exactly like Lexi. And I love that she's just this really hard-working pest out there. And it's almost made life better for me, because now I'll look over and I'll be like, I bet she's crazy at the half court. I bet she'll pick up somebody full court press and just mess them up. That's what I think now when I look around at my peers. So, you know, and that's all because of Lexi.
You're really seeing that there's an opportunity for people to have a deeper well, and I think that I love that the W's brought that to you. That's fantastic.
It has. No, I'm growing a lot as a person. One of the things I want to just bring up at the end, as the fourth quarter was coming, even though we're destroying, we really closed out the game well through defense, for sure. The Sky never scored more than 20 points in a quarter, which is kind of crazy. It went down, actually. It was 17, 15, 13, 13. I felt like AB and DB's paint defense was absolutely devastating. Like, near the end, they could not get a point in the paint. And, like, it was amazing. It was an amazing way to be able to know that you can lean on that defense near the end of the game. And I know, like, it's hard. Everything we're saying is a little overblown because it's the first game of the year. But at the same time, it's just exciting to know that this is what our max speed looks like.
Yeah, I agree. I think in general, despite the Cunningham injury, this was a really great start. I think everyone scored on the Fever except for Turner, which is, you know, she not a lot of time on the court. It's totally fine, not a big deal. But I like that everybody got minutes, which doesn't always happen. And for everyone to have an opportunity to score is great.
Speaking of that, Michaela Timpson got her first points
Yeah,
as a WNBA player. Pretty
looking
exciting.
good, looking strong, looking confident on the court.
And to even get a basket in 3 minutes. It's good. So we're going to finish up with a scouting report on the upcoming teams. But before that, we're just going to take a quick break and be right back. Have you ever found yourself lonely? Have you ever found yourself talking to no one about the things that you love most, like basketball or women's sports or a women's basketball league? Try friendship. Friendship is the perfect way to find someone to talk about things that might bore other people, because friends have to listen. It's one of the rules. Friendship. It's good. Try it out. All right, so Keisha, once again, we lean on your expertise. Tell us, what do we have coming up? I know before you get started, we are playing The Dream this week 2 times, and we kind of already went over them. We just recently played them in the preseason, so we'll be more focused on the Liberty, but go ahead and take us through your scouting report.
I think, again, the players that you have to be mindful of when it comes to Atlanta, unfortunately, it's not a short list. A benefit for the Fever going into this week is Jordan Canada is still out. That's a very strong guard you don't have to be mindful of, but Alicia Gray will go off. May not be in these next 2 games, but she is, speaking of nuisances, she is a menace. She is a great ball handler. Her 3-point range is wild, and then there's the inside team, which is Brianna Jones coming from the Connecticut Suns and Brittany Griner coming from my beloved Phoenix Mercury, as well as Naz Hillman inside. That's a lot of bigs, and we have a lot of height and talent down low, but that can always be a big battle. The other player to keep an eye out on, of course, when it comes to the guard side, is going to be Ryan Howard. Great shooter, great facilitator. And then our rookie to be mindful of is Tahina Pau, who has been having a great start to her preseason and season. On the New York side, though, they just had their first game against the Aces, and they pretty much ate the Aces up. Even though Asia Wilson had a great game, the Liberty is just stacked. They have some of the most talented bigs, and they are all getting the ball. They are facilitating. They have the ball handling and rebounding prowess of Jonquel Jones, and they have Breanna Stewart. I don't know the answer to Breanna Stewart. She can be the one. I just don't know who guards her. She can play any position.
Especially when she gets going. She's terrifying.
She's terrifying. Yeah. And they have one of the Sabalis. They have Sabrina. They have Isabel Harrison, who hasn't even gotten that much playtime, but she's a big who came from the sky. They have Leonie Fibic, who recently was playing in Spain, so she just started playing basketball again, like in the last couple of weeks. And the real surprise player, Natasha Cloud from the Mercury, had a huge first game for the Liberty. I mean, showed out. What did she score against she scored 22 points against the Aces in the opening game. She had 9 assists. So she is a utility player. She's physical, she's aggressive, and she's fast. So they have their hands full when it comes to New York. I think if we keep the fast pace, fast break going against the Dream, they don't really have a lot of answers against fast breaks and pushing, but New York does. So the confidence building, if they can keep bringing those skills and building up all of those backdoor cuts and the incredible ball movement, I think that when it comes to New York, it's gonna be an exciting game. We just have to perform at the level that we can the next two Fever Dream games.
Yeah, no, that'll be a good one to see it'll be a good benchmark one. Mm-hmm. You know, like that's one I'm not necessarily even worried about, because if we lose, like, great, we'll like get a bunch of good film on it. You know, like you want to see in the beginning how we match up against a team like the Liberty, who are a fantastic team. It's very exciting. Okay, so we didn't mention it very often. We mentioned it just briefly at the top, but Caitlin Clark got another triple-double. First one ever to get it in 41 games, which isn't saying much because she was also the only rookie to ever get it, and then the only rookie to ever get it twice. Me and Keisha, in our little text after the game, I called Caitlin the triple-double queen, which you took a little offense to. Is that correct?
You had mentioned something about how Caitlin Clark is the queen of triple-doubles, and I was a little offended only because, as a Phoenix Mercury fan, we just got the actual queen of the triple-double, Alyssa Thomas, and I say this because she has 15. 11, I believe, are in the regular season, but she is wearing that crown right now. And I do wish Caitlin the best, but while Alyssa Thomas is an active player, she royalty when it comes to the triple-double.
And I think that's fair. That's very fair. I was maybe getting a little ahead of myself, but at the same time, I just want to put it on the record, I think 2.5 years. That's what I think. Because she got 2 in her rookie year, and she really wasn't feeling it the first half of the year. You know, it was tough sledding, but then she got 2, and then she gets this one right off the bat. You know, how many is she gonna get this year? Like, I don't know, like 10, probably 10. I think so. You know, and Alyssa will get
Just an easy 10,
and it'll take some time, and we'll get there. So, with that, we're going to bring this episode to an end. Welcome back to the regular season, everybody. Very excited. Make sure that you are drinking all your fluids, that you are staying limber, doing your stretches and stuff. Maybe take a warm-up before a game. Just keep all those things in mind, because it's going to be a fun year. All right.
Stay loose.
Stay loose, everybody. All right. Well, we'll see you next time on another episode of Fever Replay.